right?
Yeah.
Happens to be the nature and power of beliefs. Now, here, Seth is taking us through a journey where there was a demonstration in real life of the nature and power of beliefs on an individual. It's a very interesting thing for us.
Even I read one article, sir. Belief is something which religion creates a belief which you don't have an analytical point of reasoning. You have to believe it. So you have to just go with the flow. Ritual becomes.
See, if you take the religion, the only problem I have with the word religion is it is somebody's interpretation. How do you know that it is not for his personal gain? At the cost of somebody. If it is stating the fact that which is universal and helpful to all, that's a different thing. But what if you don't do this and this is what will happen to you? And who is the person who is going to do it? Beneficiary. So those kind of things somehow I don't like.
The religion and spirituality lies there, sir. When you enter into spirituality, you start questioning the beliefs that you formed in the rituals or in the religion.
You are not supposed to. You are not supposed to be guided by the belief. You are supposed to be guided by the faith. Faith and belief are not one and the same.
Someone said me, I believed it. So no matter whether I have faith or not, a strong desire,
exactly. See,
that I cannot change it. Perception of
yes.
If you ask me, I don't have a reason, but I believe that.
Exactly.
Yeah, the strong things, strongholds basically. Yeah.
So let us go.
Let's start. Already 7:41. Are we recording? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
the nature
from here. Oh,
beliefs. Yeah. Now dictation.
Okay. Now dictation. Not long ago, Robert was presented with a demonstration embodying the nature and the power of beliefs. He received a phone call from a man who lived in another state. There was a request for an interview. Without knowing why, Robert felt an impulse to see the man and set up an appointment. The visitor arrived from the airport with his wife in town. Sorry, I don't know. He was a study, a living example of the effects of conflicting, unexamined beliefs, a fierce and yet agonized personification of what can happen when an individual allows his conscious mind to deny its responsibilities. That is, when an individual becomes afraid of his own consciousness. See, this is what we are talking about, the beliefs.
Exactly.
Here was a young man whose beliefs were alive with their own life while he was relatively powerless. No effort had been made to reconcile directly opposing beliefs until the personality itself was quite literally polarized. You are faced what could be called a classic instance of secondary personality. I am discussing it here because it so beautifully illustrates the nature and power of beliefs and the conflicts that can arise when an individual does not accept responsibility for his own drafts. This is not a usual case, but to some extent or another, such a division occurs physically or mentally when the contents of the conscious mind are not examined.
See, it is so important that when the physical and mental contents that we carry, we don't review them, we don't examine them, in other words, there is no introspection going on at all. And when we don't introspect, then we are under the influence of either the belief or the faith. Yeah. Let's continue.
Entering, the man bristled with belligerence. What is belligerence? and hostility. I don't know what it is.
Parents,
Entering the
why don't we look it up better? Aggressive or warlike behavior. He was both agitated and he was displaying the characteristics of being aggressive.
Mm. So entering the man bristled with belligerence and hostility. Having requested help, he then hated himself for the weakness that he believed caused such a need. He glowered at our friend Rupert with great vehemency, projecting all of the energy at his command to show that he would not be cowed. That cowed means
He
putting
will
down.
not
What he did?
be the falling victim, or he won't fall under the influence.
Yeah,
That means
putting, yeah.
I'm right. I've come with a decision for a discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that if anyone took over the situation, he would be the one to do so. He spoke of a personality far more powerful than though he said he could force a room full of 150 people to follow his commands. The other personality, however, originated in another galaxy and came as a friend to help and protect him. So that is a dual personality. Yeah.
No,
So
no.
he is exhibiting.
See, when you don't accept, see, basically what
Uh,
he's saying, see, he spoke of
conflict.
another personality. He spoke of another personality. He is
Yeah.
talking about someone who has come to help him. But he is going into that discussion with a mindset which says, I am right, which is blind to any inputs that you receive under that circumstance. Correct?
So the other personality, however, originated in another galaxy and came as a friend to help and protect him. At his behest, he said, this invisible friend killed a lawyer. The lawyer not only did not understand the condition according to the story, but hurt the feelings of the man under discussion. We will call the man Augustus.
No.
Okay. Okay, let's go down. All this we don't need.
And skip that English part and continue further.
Okay. Augustus was brought up to believe that the inner self was dangerous. Individuals reacted because of inner conflicts over which they had little conscious control. So he has this belief that inner self is dangerous. He believed that the individual personality was relatively powerless to understand itself and that it stood precariously alone and undefended with a chasm of evil beneath and with an unattainable, cold, just but not compassionate good above. He felt bewildered in a world of opposites. Conflicting beliefs were uncritically.
Uncritically accepted.
The conscious mind will always attempt to make sense out of its beliefs, to form them into patterns and sequences. It will usually organize ideas in as rational a way as possible and dispense with those that seem to contradict the overall system of its beliefs. Augustus
So
had
the conscious mind is controlled by the beliefs that are already stored within. So that becomes the sieve through which we accept or reject any
Augustus
input
had
that is
been
received. Yeah.
Yeah, he had been taught to fear his own thoughts, to avoid self-examination. Beliefs or ideas that frightened him were not faced, therefore, but initially shoved into corners of the conscious mind where they lay relatively harmlessly in the beginning.
So what is he saying
As
here? No, here it is worth noting one very interesting fact.
mm,
Let us say we are driving a car.
mm,
The mind is focused on certain aspects, but the senses are receiving more inputs than what the mind is focused on. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Where
Yes.
are they going?
Yes.
Where are they going? They are going somewhere.
Different.
They
Yeah.
are
Different way.
now reread this para. Augustus had been.
Augustus had been taught to fear his own thoughts to avoid self-examination. Okay. He's afraid of his own self.
No. Continue, read the whole thing. You will get what I was trying to hit at.
Beliefs or ideas that frightened him were not faced.
Okay, one
Therefore,
second, just hold. Beliefs and
yeah.
or ideas that frightened him were not faced. He is
Yes.
focused on only those aspects which are aligned to his belief and that which he
Correct.
is not frightened of.
Correct.
So, what's happening to the observations that he is frightened of? Are they going away?
Yeah, they are going. Some of them are.
Not going
Yeah.
away.
See,
They are entering
they,
storage.
yeah.
They are entering
That's
the
what he
storage. Yeah, let's
correct.
continue.
That's what
Yeah,
they showed into an corners. That's
correct.
what he's saying.
Hmm.
They actually showed into corners of the conscious mind where they lay relatively harmlessly in the beginning. So
Relatively harmless in the beginning, but
they were kind of late.
they become large enough that you have to take cognizance of it.
When the time comes, that
No, not
sequence,
the time,
that when
not the time. When
Mm.
they question your belief, that means they have become dominant enough to question your belief.
Oh, okay.
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 Then what happens? You're already frightened of them, of those. That is why you're not taking cognizance of it. But
Correct.
they have become dominant. So what's happening to you? You're under the control of fright. Okay, let's
Correct.
go ahead. Yeah, let's go.
And as time went on, the number of unexamined, frightening beliefs began to accumulate. Ideas and beliefs do feed upon themselves. Oh, they do feed upon themselves. There is within
Exactly.
them
That is how
there
your fear
is
builds up, right? The emotion that you call fear, that is how it is building up.
it
And
accrues.
that's what you realize when you read that other book, how emotions are made. Yeah,
There is within them a built-in impetus towards growth, development, and fulfillment. Over the years, two opposing systems of beliefs built up strongly, vying for Augustus' attention. He believed that he was utterly powerless as an individual, that despite all his efforts, he would come to. He would come to.
yeah, he would come to. That means basically over the years, two opposing systems of beliefs built up strongly, vying for, right?
His attention.
Correct. He believed that he was utterly powerless as an individual, that despite all his efforts, he would come to nothing.
Yeah, he would come to nothing.
Go
Go
on.
unnoticed.
Yeah.
He felt completely unloved. He did not feel worthy of love. At the same time, he let his conscious mind wander and to compensate saw himself as all powerful, contemptuous of his fellow human beings and able to work greater vengeance upon them for their misunderstanding of him.
Correct.
So either he is powerless or very angry, and
No. There are beautiful emotions hidden in this para. First one is his belief.
he felt completely
Dominance of
unloved.
two streams of beliefs. One that he believes in, the other one he contrary to his belief. Both of them are conflicting and creating confusion in him. But
So he said here he felt completely
so
unloved.
the
He did not
impact
feel
of that, the impact of that, his confusion
yeah.
questioned his being loved. He did not feel that he should be loved. Again, two conflicting scenarios that have
But
built in him.
at the same time, that's why
So
he says
now
at the same
his ego driven
yeah.
by his belief system, how is it behaving? At the same time, he let his
Yeah.
conscious mind wander and to compensate saw himself as all powerful because he is now under the influence of not his conscious mind but his subconscious, his belief, right?
Correct.
So contemptuous of his fellow human beings because he felt unloved and
Correct.
able to work greater vengeance upon them for their misunderstanding of him.
In this line of beliefs, he was able to do anything, cure mankind's ills if he chose, or withhold such knowledge from the world to punish it. Period. So he can do either way, like the sword,
No, that is the impact that it could have. It could be counterproductive or productive, both.
Now, all of these ideas were quite conscious, but he held each group separately. The conscious mind again tries to obtain overall integrity and unity, lining up its beliefs into some kind of consistent system. When opposing beliefs that directly contradict each other are held for any length of time and little attempt is made to reconcile them, then a battle begins within the conscious mind itself. Wow.
So,
So, two
see,
of
look at his behavior. It has gone from where to where. He is completely ruining himself, right? Hmm.
little attempt is made to reconcile them. Since it is the beliefs of the conscious mind that regulate the involuntary bodily emotions and the entire physical system, then contradictory beliefs obviously set up adverse physical reactions and imbalances. So,
And do
this
you
is
see
the
the
effect.
root? See, this becomes the root of not only your behavior, the internal systems, how they are impacted, even though you may not be conscious of the other part of what is happening to
So let me read this. Since it is the beliefs of the conscious mind that regulate the involuntary bodily motions and the entire physical system, then contradictory beliefs obviously set up adverse physical reactions and imbalances. Before
you.
Augustus opposed.
Just try to practically take an example to understand this deeper.
Mm,
What is the involuntary function? Involuntary
conscious
functions are
mind.
those functions within the
Mm,
body which are not under your control.
correct. Involuntary.
Your respiratory,
Correct.
your circulatory, your digestive,
All in the inside the body.
all inside the body, and your regenerative. That means
Correct.
when since it is the beliefs of the conscious mind could have the F2 part of it is which is the unconscious mind. Both.
Correct.
That is why they say, right, the body doesn't know whether it is real or fake, or the mind doesn't know whether it is real or fake. As long as you believe in it, it will have its role to.
Correct.
Beautifully, this is beautiful part of the wisdom which is useful for all of us in life. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Before Augustus's opposing beliefs lined themselves up into separate camps, so to speak, the body was in continual turmoil.
Mm.
Contradictory messages were constantly sent to the muscular system and the heart. The hormonal system teetered. Even his physical temperature varied rather drastically. So many changes are happening in the body because of that contradicting beliefs. Because, like ideas,
If we apply this to Joe Dispenza's diagram of energy center, right?
correct.
Think of the impact that it can have on us.
Yeah.
It is disastrous.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because like ideas do attract like, both electromagnetically and emotionally, the conscious mind found itself with two complete contradictory systems of belief and two self images. To protect the integrity of the physical structure, Augustus's conscious mind nearly divided itself up. No longer were the minute to minute messages to the body scrambled.
Mm.
Oh, minute to minute. Sorry, not
Yeah.
minute. Sorry, minute to minute. No longer were the minute to minute messages to the body scrambled. So, the part of Augustus who felt powerful and alien became personified. When Augustus felt threatened, then the conscious mind switched over, accepting as operating procedure the system of beliefs in which Augustus saw himself as all powerful, secure, but as alien. This
Mm.
part of his, therefore, and this particular self image took over his conscious mind and became what we will hear all Augustus too. When Augustus too assumed leadership, then the physical body itself was not only strong and powerful, but capable of physical feats for surpassing those of Augustus I. It's like F1, F2.
No, this is exactly the F1, F2.
Augustus too, you see, believes that his body is nearly
Invincible.
in, and following this belief, the body does perform much better. Augustus too believes that he is an alien. In this case, the rationale, because there must be one, is that he is a being from another planet, in fact, from another galaxy. Oh, his purpose in this case is quite clear and simple. He is to help Augustus I, to use his power on the latter's behalf, rewarding his friends and terrifying his enemies. Augustus I quite deeply believes he needs this kind of help. So somebody, he got into his body from
No.
another galaxy.
See,
Mm,
now let us think about the practical application,
mm,
right? When you sit in meditation,
yes.
you are playing the role of Augustus too,
Mm, powerful.
right? Because
Mm,
you believe that there is energy, you are energy, that energy is passing through you, eliminating all your bottled emotions,
problems.
which are blockages, right? You may
Yeah.
not get it
Correct.
the first day, but as you keep repeating that exercise, right, you will
Yes.
start experiencing, then you will become aligned to the experience which is Augustus 2. Then you go and face that situation in real life. Augustus 1 dominates. Okay, that is the two scenarios that you are having. So far, he has brought us up to that state.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, this is it of the conscious mind. He
Mm.
does not originate in the inner self. So he
Mm.
does not originate in the inner self. When Augustus too takes over, he is quite conscious. He
Mm.
simply views reality through an undeviating systems of beliefs. The
Mm.
messages sent to the body are not in the least contradictory. The body is under excellent control. Augustus' once mood, of course, were a direct result of the ideas he was entertaining. It was this unceasing swing from high states of exaltation and power to low ones of powerlessness and depression that the body could not tolerate because of the vast alterations entailed. For the greater periods of time, Augustus I predominates, since his ideas of worthlessness in your terms were adopted earlier, and worse, are only reinforced by the contrast between him and Augustus II. Augustus II comes on sometimes for as long as a week at a time. He does all the things and says all the things that Augustus I would dearly love to do and say, with only certain safeguards. Augustus I, however, is not literally unconscious during this time, but quite aware of the vicarious activities and fulfillments. Again, it is a game of hide and seek in which the so called unconscious mind is relatively innocent. Augustus too can therefore rant and rave, lie and cheat, assert himself, show his contempt for his fellows, and absolve Augustus I of any responsibility. It's like a split personality.
It becomes a split. One he is conscious of, the other one he is not conscious.
Yeah. You may take, okay, let's go down.
Correct.
There is nothing evil in the nature of Augustus too. In spiritualistic circles, however, he would most certainly be interpreted as an evil spirit or guide. His nature is protective. The basic ideas and beliefs that have been personified into his being, that became his being, were formed to protect Augustus I from the destructive ideas given to him in his childhood.
So this is the objective with which you have the other side of the bridge or the other side of the river, but to combat.
Yeah, to combat the beliefs in powerlessness and futility. So whatever this child destructive ideas given to him in his childhood, to combat those beliefs in powerlessness and futility, it happened. So that led him.
Augustus I is what is created by his existing experiences.
Childhood beliefs.
Two is beyond those, wherein all those can be controlled by Augustus II. Okay. Yeah.
To that degree, see, it is like once before coming into spirituality, we have some religious beliefs. After coming to this, we completely deny. You
are given wisdom by which you are questioning those beliefs.
Yeah, and then we deny. We say, no. Even some people try to argue. When we are very firm, we don't have conflict, but otherwise we have.
Correct. Perfect.
To that degree, they were added onto the original ideas, but still at an early age. So it was from the child's concept of a powerful being that Augustus too sprang.
So when you are pushed to the corner, even the cat can attack any kind of an animal. Right.
It becomes like a tiger. Yeah.
Right.
The greater the feelings of weakness, then the greater the compensating feelings of power and strength, but again, with no attempt at conscious reconciliation.
If you consciously reconcile, you will find the reason for it and you will overcome it. Yeah.
See, that's why the greater the feelings of weakness, this leads to, then the greater the compensating feelings of power and strength. So, because those are all, both are conflicting, and that's why he cannot reconcile. Augustus' mother noted only that her son seemed highly changeable. Augustus too did not present himself as obviously another personality until after Augustus' marriage. When the demands of fatherhood and making a living were placed upon him, he could not cope. His belief in unworthiness prevented him from using his abilities or even pursuing a course of effective action with any persistence. It was then that Augustus too began to assert himself and to Augustus' wife. Oh, then Augustus too began to assert himself to Augustus's wife. In his own way, Augustus too would prove to her that she was married to quite an unusual, powerful man, a paragon of virility and strength. But to do so, Augustus I must appear as Augustus II to her.
Hmm.
This continued.
This is
Augustus
the
I would
conflict.
first develop a
This
headache.
is the conflict that he is undergoing. Correct.
So Augustus I developed a splitting headache, and then this alien from outer space would arrive, the commanding male that Augustus I was not.
Hmm.
Here, the deception brought about certain difficulties. Not only was Augustus II more sexually promiscuous, but by contrast, Augustus I seemed very pallid indeed. Augustus II was originally intended to help Augustus I. It's
Hmm.
true that exotic conditions spilled over, casting some glamour on Augustus I when Augustus II left for a time. But the contrast was too blatant, too out in the open. Augustus I, still the primary personality, became even more frightened. He knew that gradually Augustus II was outliving his purpose, showing him up and had to go.
Hmm.
In fact, once Augustus II obviously took over the body of Augustus I, it was all out in the open in the family. The wife began to take notes of what was done and said. When these events were repeated to Augustus I later, the lying and cheating was evident. So was the infantile nature of the personalities, yet Augustus too purported to be all wise from a galaxy far surpassing Earth in every category of endeavor. And here he was making predictions that never happened and boasting and lying like a droper.
Hmm. The
The
beliefs.
The beliefs whose energy generated this alternate self image then appeared in the daylight, acting out their natural results in physical reality. Augustus I, now in manhood, was forced to perceive the nature of these beliefs to some extent, yet, when he was here visiting Rupert, he still would not examine them. Augustus II has not taken over now for 2.5 months, 2.5 months. Oh, Augustus too has not taken over for 2.5 months. Augustus is in a dilemma, for he still holds intact the beliefs in his own powerlessness, and the contradictory beliefs of omnipotence are not now being expressed through Augustus too. So, oh, yet expressed they will be. And so in the interview, Augustus I, who will be now simply called Augustus, at one moment came through with his, what is it? At expressed they will be. And so in the interview, Augustus I, who we will now simply call Augustus, at one moment came through with his gigantic belligerence,
Hmm.
starting at Rupert, telling him that he could
Staring,
annihilate
staring
anyone.
at Rupert. Now, I think we should read
Really.
this para once again, ma'am, from the beginning.
Yeah,
Augustus.
yeah.
Ah,
August, help me Chantara. Augustus too has taken over. For two and
ah,
a half months, he kept quiet. He
correct.
didn't take over.
Hmm. So
But
Augustus is
when
in dilemma.
dilemma, yeah, then for he still holds intact the beliefs in his own powerlessness, and the contradictory beliefs of omnipotence are not now being expressed through August too.
Hmm.
So because he was away for 2.5 months, so he's not expressing that omnipotence, the power. Kada.
Correct.
Yet expressed, yet expressed they will be. And so in the interview, Augustus I, who we will now simply call Augustus, at one moment came through with his gigantic belligerence. I don't know what is this belligerence.
No,
Starting at
we said no that the arrogance, the aggressiveness, etc.
correct, correct. Okay, starting at Rupert and telling him that he could annihilate anyone who hurt him. In the next moment, the great plea for help would surface, the love of his wife and child. In one sentence, Augustus would make a statement and 10 minutes later make it clear with another remark that the first fact had not been true. the
Correct.
split personality.
Basically,
Here,
both are coming from him. I am positive, I am also challenged and become negative.
here, and also the other doesn't remember what this one says. So they're not, you know, communicating with each other.
They are not
The
consistent.
two,
They are not
they're
consistent. Neither of them is consistent.
correct.
Yeah.
Here, the polarity in Augustus 1 and 2 had dissolved, so that the two opposing systems of beliefs operated alongside each other. Still, Augustus would not examine his own words, his own thoughts, or see the contradictions so obvious to others. The nature and importance of
The
belief
problem
appeared
is
so.
that there is one entity which you call Augustus, and he is manifesting through two scenarios.
Correct.
One that he is Augustus 1, one he is Augustus 2.
One is lovable,
He is
one
not
is very
reconciling these two opposing representation of himself.
correct.
Okay. Yeah.
And different personalities. The
Correct.
nature and importance of belief appeared so eloquently that Rupert was astounded and found himself forced into some complicated psychological footwork. The two personalities were no longer separate but merging. Augustus, my friend killed a neighbor of mine who was against me by giving him pneumonia. What is this? My friend killed a neighbor of mine who was against me by giving him pneumonia. He looks out for me. Another neighbor has ulcers, and Augustus told Rupert that after he touched this neighbor, the ulcer seems to have been healed. So he said, I would like to know how much of this great ability belongs to me. And looking briefly away, perhaps I do not need my friend to protect me after all. Now, this was definitely to the good in that Augustus was beginning to feel that perhaps he was not powerless. His own personality, however, is left to handle the definitely unsavory characteristics of an Augustus too, who is no longer personified.
So, what is this coming from? The nature and importance of belief appeared so eloquently that Rupert was astounded and found himself forced into some complicated psychological work. The two personalities were no longer separate but merged. So he was seeing that scope.
Yeah,
Correct.
correct.
And Augustus would not examine his own words, but that is seen.
And also, one
Correct.
personality is causing some health issues, one is healing.
Correct. So he wants to know which is that which is mine. Interesting.
So, so he said, I would like to know how much of this great ability belongs to me. And looking briefly, perhaps I do not need my friend to protect me after all. Now, this was definitely to the good in that Augustus was beginning to feel that perhaps he was not powerless. His own personality, however, is left to handle the definitely unsavory characteristics of an Augustus too, who is no longer personified. He is left with questions. If I am so powerful, how is it that I am so weak and cannot even support my family? If I am so great, why cannot I effectively use my energy?
So he is in that dilemma. Okay.
For the body of Augustus is once again under the sway of beliefs about himself that are highly contradictory. Before, he was physically powerful when he was Augustus 2 and weak when he was Augustus 1. Now, as Augustus, he is alternatively strong and weak, and the body stresses are apparent. As Augustus 2, he could stay up night and day and perform physical tasks quite difficult for the normal human being to do. For he operated under the indivisible idea of power and strength. It has taken some courage for him to let Augustus too vanish. Because the neat divisions of beliefs no longer exist, however, he will seem even more difficult to his wife since the characteristics of Augustus too now bleed into his own. He will lie, for example, where before only Augustus too lied. Here, then, is a case where directly opposing beliefs dominated the conscious mind at various times, each operating the body in its own manner. Physically, the body has the same capacity for strength regardless of which group of ideas were dominant. But practically speaking, Augustus I was incapable of performing the feats of Augustus II. Augustus II once leaped from a second story window above. Augustus II once leaped from a second story window to the ground in anger and without injury, a highly unusual feat. Augustus, however, is so exhausted that he can barely get through a normal day. You had a situation in which an individual, through beliefs, put his power and energy literally besides himself. He could use it only when he switched beliefs completely. Amazing. It was only because the childlike characteristics of Augustus too finally appeared so blatantly that Augustus too had to be dispensed with. Augustus' wife made the difference, for it was obvious that she did not have the same opinions of this friend that her husband had. Her beliefs then became the new foundation, the one point of change that allowed Augustus to view this alternate self image with any kind of detachment at all. Go down. Okay.
Yeah.
There is no real adequate framework in your society in which people like Augustus can be treated with any effectiveness. So, an analyst might consider Augustus as schizophrenic and label him neatly, but such terms are basically meaningless. If the analyst, over a period of time, should convince Augustus that his condition in the present resulted from some specific inhibited event in the past, and if the analyst was an intuitive and understanding man, then Augustus might change his beliefs enough so that some kind of cure was worked. He would conveniently remember such an event and display the expected emotions as he re-experienced it. See, this is like regression therapy. Unfortunately, in his present state, powerless as it were without Augustus too, he might also simply call on his alter ego to show the good doctor that he was no one to trifle with. Then there would be the matter of helping Augustus to face
The
to
implication.
face to face the implications of his other self's behavior in such a way that he could accept it as a portion of his whole identity. When Augustus was in control of the body, the chemical makeup varied considerably. It showed significant differences over Augustus' usual hormonal status. The chemical changes were caused by the transitions in beliefs that operated and not the other way around. If chemical alterations were made in Augustus too, he would return to the Augustus one personality, but the change would be artificial, not permanent, and possibly quite dangerous. The chemically inhibited tendencies would to some extent be forcefully blanketed through medication. Because blanketed through medication. The problem would remain, though, and it is quite possible that overt suicidal tendencies could result, or more insidious hidden suicidal inclinations where vital organs would be attacked. Sometimes these are handled within another framework in which Augustus would be considered possessed by an independent evil entity whenever Augustus too took over. Now, again, if Augustus somehow changed his beliefs, it is possible that even within that framework, some kind of cure would be effected. But At the same time, the dangers and difficulties would make such a cure relatively impossible. If a practitioner who believed that Augustus was possessed then convinced Augustus of the fact their joint charged beliefs might possibly work for a while, convincing Augustus that he was under the domination of an evil entity would be step one. Step two, getting rid of the intruder could at least follow. The trouble is that working within that framework, the self structure is further weakened, for the normally repressed characteristics of Augustus too are forever denied. Augustus must then always be good, and yet he would always feel vulnerable to another such invasion of evil. The same results as those given could be possible: the growth of suicidal tendencies or other self destructive behavior.
So basically, what is he saying? Everything is in your belief. In short, right? If you believe that you can overcome your challenge, you will overcome.
The suppressed
And when you are on that path, you will encounter the challenge of failures. Don't let that dominate. Right? So keep your track in control. I think here we can read the.
When all this when all this started in late 1963 about speaking in trance, Jane said, I used to feel that there was just one word available at a time, with nothing before it or after it. But now I sense whole blocks of material there just
Wait.
waiting,
Yeah.
like the stuff on the speakers tonight earlier. It is like that more and more often. Before the session, Jane had again been aware of several channels of information available from Seth. Luckily, the human mind and body are far more flexible, durable, and creative than ever given credit for. Many cases like Augustus has never come to light. The individuals involved cure themselves. Sometimes this is done when such a person chooses to undergo a traumatic experience. Often, one part of the personality will plan this quite deliberately while the other portion closes its eyes. These events can seem to be disaster or near disasters, and yet they can sufficiently mobilize the entire personality for survival's sake. In a moment of high critical intention, the personality may put itself together again.
So the
Such,
body has the ability to withstand such things, is what he is saying. Let us read further.
such critical unite episodes usually do not involve long sickness, tough they may, but instead events such as
though not tough, though they may.
Yeah, correct. I don't know what I know. Such critical uniting episodes usually do not involve long sickness, though they may, but instead events such as bad accidents. The difficulty may be exteriorized as a broken limb, for example, instead of a broken self, and as the body is repaired, the necessary assimilations of beliefs takes place. So some accident will happen. So
some event will take place which will bring about the change in the belief.
that's what even a near-death experience or some accident or
Correct.
There are various kinds and stages in such cases. Each individual is unique. Sometimes the framework includes another method of cure in which portions of each conflicting side of the personality breaks off to form a clearer psychological structure which can communicate with the other two, acts as a referee, and reconcile the opposing beliefs held by each.
Basically, some learning will happen.
This is done many times without the main personality realizing what is really going on. On occasions, automatic writing is utilized, or the Oja board.
Oja board.
I don't Oja board, okay, or Oja board. Both are methods to uncover invisible conscious beliefs that are accepted by you consciously at any given time, say, and deliberately ignored at another given time. To uncover invisible conscious beliefs, okay, that are accepted by you consciously at any given time, okay. When people using such methods are told that their writing comes through from a demon or the devil or an evil spirit, then those invisible beliefs are shoved farther away. Any search into the mind becomes frightening and dangerous since it might lead to further such invasion. That because of fear.
Correct.
Now, such invasion is usually the hidden appearance of previously unacceptable
Sudden
beliefs.
appearance, not hidden. Sudden appearance.
Now, such invasion is usually the sudden appearance of previously unacceptable beliefs, quite conscious but invisible, tucked away. And okay, suddenly the ones tucked away, they become a sudden appearance
They
of previous.
suddenly appear as alien.
Correct.
In most instances, the possession concept makes it all the more upsetting. Easier to face often is the idea that the responsibility for such ideas must belong to another entity or being. Okay.
So basically, what
Yeah.
they sudden appearances, I mean, they agree and they appear as an alien, and then they, in most cases, the concept makes it all more upsetting, so they recognize.
No, see, not recognize. There will be two opposing
Conflicting.
manifestations. You need to reconcile the both if you want to take the essence of it. If you don't reconcile both, there is no learning and you are going by blind faith, which is driven by the belief.
So actually, all this is caused by two unacceptable, conflicted beliefs.
Exactly. So, in all cases of this nature, involving Augustus type episodes, the problem is one of unassimilated beliefs. That means you are not reconciled the beliefs.
You were not able to accept it.
Correct. No, not accept it. You are not looking at why is the difference coming up. You are not understanding that. You are not assimilating the wisdom hidden within them. Right? Instead of such comparatively drastic behavior, however, such beliefs can be expressed through various parts of the body. Unfortunately, a system of medicine that largely deals with symptoms only encourages a patient to project such beliefs as new organs, for instance, after already sacrificing others in operations. See,
what do they mean? No. For instance,
no.
after already sacrificing others in operations and
operations is surgery. Here he is meaning the surgery, right? So, had I known what I have experienced before my amputation of the toes, right? Probably my approach would have been different. Right? So, where does the solution lie? He is explaining that here. Read that.
So one confirmation here, sir.
Yeah.
So the conflict of beliefs that laid deep within us, when they surface it, which we're not even aware or which we do not want to accept, are we thinking that this is an external entity, that those are due to, an external entity rather than thinking that is laid within ourselves. Is that what that paragraph is talking about?
No, it's more than that. What he is saying is he's coming out with a suggestion saying, okay, there are two. You are not conscious of one. The other one is you are conscious of, or you are there also you may not be conscious of. You need to be able to understand and reconcile why those two.
Yeah, but the issue is we are not able to reconcile.
We are
able
not
to even
doing
understand
it.
that they exist within us.
They do exist, but you are not able to recognize that they exist in you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Correct. So the solution lie in the conscious mind. I cannot emphasize this too strongly. And in those beliefs that you accept about the nature of reality and specifically about the nature of your being, till you reconcile the two differences to identify the root cause and your strength in terms of handling it, you will not be able to overcome the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically,
now, yes.
Like once we are sick, we can either go to doctor or accept and then sit in meditation and try to cure ourselves.
No, you will take tablet, but even the tablet may not be the total cure.
It is temporary. It is only a band-aid.
Correct. So end of the day, you will believe, see, the current medical system encourage only the largely deals with the symptoms only, encourages a patient to project such beliefs on new organs. For instance, after all, so what is the new organ that is grown after an operation or after a particular event? You will that will get encouraged. Whereas in reality, the solution lies in the conscious mind. You can direct the solution for yourself. Right?
So the solutions lies in the conscious mind. I cannot emphasize this too strongly. And in those beliefs that you accept about the nature of reality and specifically about the nature of your being.
So you need to understand yourself better.
Correct.
Mm.
So that's what it's saying,
Yeah.
we need to understand nature of reality. While the most basic must be done by the individual, help is always available from a variety of sources, both within and without.
Exactly.
You will literally interpret and use almost any data that comes to you as helpful, and it will be highly effective. See, that is positive attitude.
Correct.
Unless you to think perhaps that everyone is against you, or that you are beyond help, or that you do not deserve it. So that means you are not accepting, you are thinking negatively. Other such ideas can also close you off from help, of course, but you will instinctively look for it and use it when possible. So you may take a break. Okay, let's go now.
So this becomes the most important takeaway in today's entire reading. Correct? We'll stop here.
Okay. Normally, there is 20 minutes.
No,
20
we
minutes.
have another 15 minutes, right? Or 20 minutes.
Yeah. Another 15, 20 minutes.
This chapter is over.
Uh-huh.
This para.
Let's start with another ending. I want to have a very positive, because this funny.
This whole thing is possible. I mean, the whole thing is positive in my reading. Okay, then we'll.
The living flesh, chapter 7.
Okay, we'll do. I have no issue.
Yeah. The living flesh. Give us the moment. Often individuals go overboard, forgetting that ideas have their own vitality. Such people make where basically there are none. Okay, forgetting that ideas have their own vitality. They
I
consider
have some
ideas
doubt.
mental properties.
Ramakrishna sir, you're saying something?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I have some doubts. So,
Okay.
although Augustus 1, does he know the existence of Augustus 2 as a separate entity in within himself?
Yes.
Or is it just a weakness of
No. He undergoes two kinds of environments in his day-to-day experience. That means he is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay.
Okay. Now, and he is afraid of one. Okay. And he is demonstrating belligerence in the other. Right? So he's aggressive in one, he is timid in the other. He is confused. Which one am I? So they are creating two kinds of beliefs in that individual.
Yeah.
Which one should I select is the question. Which one am I? Right. Unless you take the messages of the two, the circumstances that are released, basically it means you need to analyze both and take the learning out of it and identify yours.
Yeah.
When I say identify yourself, how do you identify yourself? Your personality is identified on the basis of your belief systems. Right? If you really take Joe Dispenza's diagram, very interestingly, he says experiences slowly and then they become beliefs, and beliefs will drive the perception.
Right.
So you perceive yourself to be something.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, and you are observing contrary behavior to that perception. The way you need to know why that is happening so that you are able to analyze that and overcome the health.
Yeah.
Okay. So he has taken us through the same thing in terms of how these two conflicting behavior patterns impact the health that represents you. Okay. So you need to reconcile those two gaps and apply it on yourself rather than be under the control of either of the two.
Okay.
Okay. Now he is taking you to the living flesh. The same thing is extending into this.
Okay.
Physically, yeah. Often individuals go overboard, forgetting that ideas have their own vitality. People make divisions where basically there are none. They consider ideas as completely mental properties separate from their concept of the body. They think ideas reside in their heads. Who, for example, imagine that an idea is alive in his elbow or knee or toe. Okay, who will imagine? They always think they are there in heads. Generally, Generally, people believe that ideas have little to do with the living flesh. The flesh seems physical and ideas do not. Those given to love of the intellect often makes an unnecessary separation between the world of concepts and that of the flesh. So he's saying they are not separate. They are one. The flesh and the ideas or concepts.
Correct. So one is
Why?
manifestation, the other one is the process.
Yeah. While it is true that the body is the living materialization of idea, it is also true that these ideas form an active, responsive, alive body. So he's saying it is not only we form the body because of the idea, it is also true that these ideas form an active, responsive, alive body. The body is not just a tool to be used. It is not just a vehicle for the spirit. It is the spirit in flesh.
It is a transformed spirit. Once again, our Joe Dispenza's diagram finds its way here.
The gray color matter.
I don't know whether
You impose
faith or
you you impose your ideas upon it and largely affect its health and well-being through your conscious beliefs. But the body is composed of living, responding atoms and molecules. These have their own consciousness, alive in matter. They drive to exist and be within the framework of their own nature. They compose the cells, and these combine to form the organs. That's the same diagram coming down. The organs possess each of the cells with, and in that way, the organs sense their own utility.
Correct. My
Oh my
God.
God. They have a purpose that functions they provide within the organism as a whole. This cooperation of consciousness continues so that you have a body consciousness that is vital, that strives to maintain its own equilibrium and health. So this cooperation, that
Correct.
cooperation of,
No, here we may want to understand what we learned from Bruce Lipton and others also, saying that we are a community of cells.
Correct.
Each community has its own purpose.
No, not only that, community of cells with consciousness. Every cell has its own
I'm coming to that. Now, each of the cell has its own consciousness, which needs to be oriented towards the function that community is performing.
Correct.
So that is where the image of a relay race needs to be thought of. Every community, if one fellow is running a little bit late, or a fellow is a little bit too fast, right? And that doesn't get absorbed, then that is going to have an impact on the overall race. Now, what is race here? The function that is being performed by the community. And
imbalance. Body imbalance.
Exactly. That is same thing he is talking in different way. Read the next para, we will get that message, I think.
The stuff of the body should not be considered as some metaphysical result, then, but as a living gestalt of responsive flesh. Your body is composed of other living entities, in other words. Though you organize this living material, it has its own right to fulfillment and existence. You are not a soul encased in inert clay. You are not a soul encased in inert clay. The house of clay does not immediately deteriorate when you leave it. It disintegrates at its own rate. It is no longer organized by your own domain. The life of its atoms and molecules and cells is translated into other living natural forms. Your perception is merely that which you are aware of. Even the atoms and molecules have their own fine visions and appreciate their environment in their own way. The same power that moves your mind forms your body. So the same way he is telling.
I'm confused now. Am I reading Thinking and Destiny? The morning session. No. Is it psychic destiny? Is it noetic destiny? Or is it nature of your personal reality? I am a bit confused because I am getting the same message in all the three.
This paragraph, especially, relates to thinking and destiny a lot.
Correct. And vice versa.
The life of its atoms and molecules and cells is translated into other living natural forms. Your perception is merely that which you are aware of. Even the atoms and molecules have their own fine vision and appreciate their environment in their own way. The same power that moves your mind, it also moves your body.
That
There
means,
is no difference.
this is a very powerful sentence. The same power that moves your mind forms your body.
Yeah.
The same power that moves your mind
That means thinking.
forms your body. Everything is in
Whatever
thinking.
thinking, feeling, affects your body. There is no difference between the energy that shapes your ideas and the energy that grows a flower or that heals your finger if you burn it. See? Wonderful. There is no difference between the energy that shapes your ideas and the energy that grows a flower or that heals your finger if you burn it. It is same energy saying. The soul does not step apart from nature. It is not the thrust into nature. Nature is the soul in flesh, in whatever its materializations. The flesh is
That is what nature is. Okay.
The flesh is as spiritual as the soul, and the soul is as natural as the flesh. If in your terms the body is the living soul. Now the soul can live and does in many forms, some physical and some not. But while you are material, the body is the living soul. The body constantly heals itself, which means that the soul is in the flesh, heals itself. See, you have to, highlight this. The body constantly heals itself, which means that the soul in the flesh heals itself. The body is often closer to the soul than the mind is because it automatically grows as the flower does, trusting its nature. See, the body is often closer to the soul than the mind because it automatically grows as the flower does, trusting its nature.
Correct.
Wonderfully said.
Stop here, or you want to complete this page?
Let's complete the page.
Yeah.
Physical existence is valuable for many reasons, one being that the flesh is so responsive to thought and yet so resilient. Physical existence is valuable for many reasons, one being that the flesh is so responsive to the thought and yet so resilient. There are built-in guidelines. There are built-in guidelines so that the body consciousness itself, while mirroring your negative images at times, will also automatically struggle against them. So basically, he is saying your thought is responsive for the flesh also, the body. There are built-in guidelines so that the body consciousness itself, while mirroring your negative images at times, will also automatically struggle against them. You must remember that you dwell always in a natural framework, which means that your thoughts themselves are as natural, say, as the locks of your hair. In what may seem to you to be an odd analogy, I will compare your thoughts with viruses, for they are alive, always present, responsive, and possess their own kind of mobility. Physically speaking, at least, thoughts are chemically propelled and they travel through the universal body as viruses travel through your temporal form. So he's comparing. Thoughts interact with the body and become part of it as viruses do. Some viruses have therapeutic value. The physical body will often let down its own barriers to these, knowing they will counteract certain others that are not beneficial at that time.
So this is the microbe. These viruses are the microbial or the bacteria.
Yeah. And some are, see, even in our body, the good ones are there, bad ones are there. So, so-called harmful viruses are ever present within the body. You are very rarely vulnerable to any but a small percentage. Though you can within you traces of the most deadly of them all of the time. Viruses themselves undergo transformations completely unsuspected by medical men.
So
If
that
one
means it
virus
is the mutation he is talking about. Yeah.
If one virus disappears and another is found, it is never suspected that the first may have changed into the second. Yet always mutations occur in viruses.
Is he
Like see,
talking
COVID,
about a physical virus? Is he talking about his comparison of a
No,
thought?
no. He is also talking about physical viruses.
Okay.
yeah, COVID. We have seen so many forms of COVID.
Correct.
So certain alterations of quite natural characters, such is the case. So viruses can be beneficial or deadly according to the condition or state and needs of the body at any given time. It is known that one disease can often cure another. Sometimes left alone, an individual will go from a serious disease through a series of less severe ones that are seemingly unrelated to the original problem. Now, in the context of usual Western learning and with the introduction of modern drugs, you are in somewhat of a quandary. I don't know what it
Quandary,
is.
doubt.
Quandary.
You are in
Doubt.
a quandary, basically doubt, confusion, etc.
The body knows how to handle natural drugs coming directly from the earth, whether ground or boiled, minced or steamed. A large variety of manufactured drugs offer an unfamiliarity to the body's innate structure, which can lead to strong defense mechanisms. These are often aimed directly against the drug instead of the disease itself. Such a situation means that you must then use another drug to counteract the one just given.
So what is happening? You are introducing something, there could be an overdose, and to counter the overdose, you will take another drug.
Not only that, it causes side effects.
No, you are taking the other drug to avoid the side effects or lessen the impact of the side effects. Yeah.
I am not suggesting that you not visit doctors or take drugs of that nature, as long as you believe in the structure of medical discipline that the Western world has evolved. Your bodies have been conditioned to it through the use of such medication since birth. There are many casualties, but this is still a system that you have chosen, and our ideas still form your reality. See, and our ideas still form your reality. No one dies who has not made the decision to do so. And no disease is accepted blindly. Put simply, your thoughts can be regarded as invisible viruses, carriers, spark setting off reactions not only within the body, but the entire physical system as you know it. Because if you think you need a medication, that's it. You're attracting it. You see, that's what he says. If you are taking medical insurance, means you want the disease. That's what he said somewhere.
I was hearing Dr. Bruce Lipton speak somewhere. He said, I don't have insurance. I don't take insurance.
Wow.
He doesn't believe in the fact of insurance for health.
Oh, Bruce Lipton said that?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Because that's what, even here also in this book, he said someplace, if you are taking medical insurance means you don't have trust in your body.
Exactly. And
your thought
coincides with what Patriji said towards the end of his life. He said, I don't want any of these medications to work on me.
Correct. Your thoughts are as natural as the cells within your body and as real. See? Your thoughts are as natural as the cells within your body and as real. They interact with one another as viruses do. While you are in this reality, there is no division between the mental, spiritual, and the physical. If you think there is, then you do not sufficiently understand the spirituality of the flesh or the physical reality of your thought.
We'll stop here.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
So,
we can, but then we'll start that. That is the other part of the journey. We'll stop here because it's 7:30, or do people want to continue for some more time?
it's time to stop because for us it's 9 o'clock
I know.
and it's 10 o'clock.
So, sir, I was thinking of the book Banned Secrets of Manifestation. For
Ah,
some reason, it
I,
has been.
Huh?
I had done.
Name book?
I had Banned Secrets of Manifestation was a book that I read. That was the first book after coming into spirituality when I heard Chandra sir speak about manifestation.
Oh, can you post that? Is that there?
Posted.
I can post it, no problem.
I will also post the map I created.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
I had created a mind map for that long ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who is the author?
Author is
Because he is not much known entity. Let me say banned
Richard.
manifestation documents. Banned secrets is there, and where is my mind manager? Yes. Okay. There are 3 maps that also I am posting. I am posting it in both the groups, Thinking and Destiny and Nature of Personal Reality. Okay. Have you got it? Are you able to open it?
Let me see. Banned. What is banned manifestation secrets? Richard somebody. Oh yeah, PDF also we got.
Yeah, no, there are 2 PDFs.
Yes, both. Yeah,
Both are there.
on the computer.
Yeah, the entire book also shortlisted into that present one in one PDF. Let me just that PDF that I just posted. Okay. Okay, so here so it takes you through all these steps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why this book? I mean, I went through the entire book and created this. The way he has explained that entire book, I have captured it in this easy to read lines.
Oh, okay, very good. Yeah, I will go through.
This won't take long. It is all in one page. Only thing is you may have to, if you print it, it will look very small, so you may have to enlarge it, right?
I think on computer screen, enlarge.
The other one is basically, why is my system not behaving today? Okay, the other one is it's not downloading today somehow.
Yeah, actually, I could not download it, sir. So,
But I am able to open it. Let me do one thing. No, not this.
I can open, I think. Let me see. But
Though
very small and not clear. The print is not clear.
but zoom it. That's.
Let me just see whether the okay. This is what it is, basically.
Better. Yeah.
Okay, I've shortened it. No logic, only magic. He says, don't think about logic. How quantum field works, then what is the intention? Intention is the seed. How we must think about it and all that, and then get the outcome
No
that
counter
we want.
important. No counter intentions.
Correct.
No opposite.
So I've taken some effective lines out of that and then created this. This is more like a summary of the other PDF that I had shown you. So both are there. Okay.
Very good.
This was done way back in 2020 or 2021. Yeah, sir, you are reading it. You are wanting to say something. We digress.
No, basically, no. I mean, once you started talking about the two personalities, I was just thinking of the this book for quite some